What up, y'all? I know not everyone feels like listening to a 40+ minute poll plans video for the month, so I broke it up to abbreviate my thoughts in a more easily digestible way. I know half of y'all, though, ain't subscribed, so go ahead and do that. Like the video, leave a comment with what you think about the upcoming content and your plans as well. And if you want to see the whole video, I'll be providing a link to that as well. Check that out for sure. Thanks a million, and now let's get into what you're really here for, alright? Act 3, Chapter 3, Part 1 kicks off. Eald'Narche gets a burst weapon. So, interestingly enough, they actually fast forward his rework, which was just his LD board rework. They fast forwarded it in global because his LD on release was so pathetic. So he actually didn't get anything here besides a burst and high armor. I think I've expressed how much I dislike using Eald'Narche in this game. Even no matter how cool he is, and his burst animation is really cool, but I gotta give him his respect. He is plenty powerful, and in the right situations, very useful. His burst effect is kind of similar to Ramza, but it's debuff based. So at its core, Eald'Narche's burst effect gives party overflow and brave regen based on Embrave, and this is 30% brave regen, so that's actually pretty good. And the condition is party brave damage and brave damage cap goes up 5% per debuff on target, which is also actually pretty strong. So you can stack a bunch of debuffs with Eald'Narche. Let him, and he's pretty slow in practice too, so any damage dealer can take actually pretty big advantage of that, especially people with who tend to cap their own brave. And what I think is the most interesting part of his burst effect is that debuffs that Eald'Narche inflicts, so terror, warp, etc., all this stuff, it doesn't decrease at the end of the enemy's turn. So he has it pretty much unlimited warp and terror, which can be potentially abusable. I don't quite know the big brain ramifications of this, but in the right hands and the right setup, this is hilariously powerful. He got the brave cap, high armor, and he's got the debuff at base, so and that makes a little sense because he's got a lot of brave hits on his skills, and he's usually only doing 1 HP attack, so it doesn't make sense to pump that up a lot. And that's all he got. I mean, he's still definitely powerful in his own right. The only problem with using Eald'Narche is that you're you're using Eald'Narche, so not much to say about that. You can still log bosses down provided they aren't terror immune, which is non-existent going forward. So anyone who says, "Oh, watch out for terror immunity," that's pretty much, that's like saying watch out for debuff immunity, which not something to be worried about. Alongside Eald'Narche, Noel from 13.2 is coming back. He's getting a rework and an LD. This is one of my favorite characters, but I also have no problem staying impartial here. I used him a ton. I didn't record all my runs, but I'll do my best to explain what I think about him. His rework is actually pretty simple. So skill 1, Tempest Strike. He has AoE brave hits now and has 50% splash, so this is actually pretty good damage skill. If you're attacking a broken target, it will only re-break the one you targeted. It won't re-break AoE. That's something really important to note. Skill 2 can now instant break, so no condition, as if the enemy has brave, they get broken immediately, and if they don't have brave, then it re-breaks. So both of his skills re-break now consistently, which is really cool. And if you need an instant break on the fly, you got it right there. And skill 2 is now 2 HP attacks as well, with multiple brave attacks in between. No refund though. He got 1 more use of his skill 1 and 3 more uses of his skill 2. So he's gonna have an easier time skill spamming, much easier. He never runs out. His HP plus also got buff, but you're never gonna touch that. But it got 5 hits, I guess. Like, whatever. Now here's where the fun starts. His LD is an instant break if the targets have brave, and a re-break if they are already broken. AoE, 100% AoE attack, very flashy. Noel also gets a free skill after this. It's debatable what you use. Some people say C65, sometimes you just want to use a skill, but it's situational. Whatever, he's not going to win out of skills, so C65 is probably safe. New buff he gets from LD, and it's a buff, not an overhead. He gets self-attack up and brave damage up. And when he's attacking a broken enemy, he gets 30% HP damage up, which is pretty significant. Noel should always be attacking broken targets, so this pretty much is in play all the time. He also got 30% attack up for the party on his limit break, so now he's got a decent 65% attack aura, which is not horrible. He contributes slightly to the party now. He got a really weird gimmick in the form of party break bonus is up by 100%, so it's doubled functionally. I have never found a good use of that, but maybe some break bonus memes, people would enjoy that. I don't know. Stacking with Bahamut, I suppose. Anyway, after using his LD, he gets a free ability use. So you can do this on your C65 to get more uptime on that and get an attack up, I guess, or you could just run it on the skill, I suppose. But the important thing now is that he gets a follow-up after breaking targets. This is not when he's attacking a broken target. He has to break them on his turn. Skill 1, Skill 2, and LD will be your bread and butter for this because they all re-break, but it's also a slight buff to his C65 and Brave Plus, because if you break him with Brave Plus, normally it'd take up a turn and be turn inefficient, but now it actually dumps HP because you broke the target. EX just can't trigger it all unless you break a target with it, and you don't want to be breaking a target with your EX in the first place. You want to be attacking someone broken so you can get the full 50% splash. So EX, first part of the kit. What else is new? We know this gets fixed down the line with his EX extension too. Base call is skill 1, single target rebreak, AoE brave hits. Situationally good. It's got a decent attack, embrave, and defense up for the caller, I suppose, but I don't know why you'd bring this over anything else generally. LD call's cool though. It's an instant break AoE or a rebreak AoE if you really need that, and the caller gets attack and brave damage up, which is definitely solid. He's got the attacker high armor, obviously, and his split leans towards brave damage. So he does a lot of brave hits and has a lot of HP attacks in between. So this benefits him a lot because if you buff him up enough, you will be hitting those higher caps and doing more HP damage with his multiple HP damage attacks as a result. Irvine, Kate Sith, Sid, and Lise are all on the banners as well. They're all getting level 80, but who cares about them right now, I guess. What do I think? Well, Eald'Narche is powerful in his own right. He just sucks to play as I think a lot of people have come around to that take and agree with me. But plenty powerful. Don't sell his burst if you get it and you don't want it, because we don't know how powerful he may be in the future. Selling burst is a dumb idea, kind of petty, so just don't be that guy. But I mean, I personally wouldn't gun for Eald'Narche's burst, but I can see the value in it personally. And there's a ranged there's a range orb transcendence in the future. If you have Eald'Narche's burst, he'd be great fodder to just throw on that one thing. Yeah, it was transcendence 4, right? Crucible. It's Crucible 2. Yeah, nothing else to say about him really. He didn't really get much aside from the burst, but the burst can be situationally powerful. Noel, he is my favorite character, but honestly, he's average at best at this release. He's a solid damage dealer. He's got high attack. He's got utility with the rebreaks, but he's not standing out. And if you're like strapped for resources, and he's not going to be carrying you through any content. I mean, I'm going to be using him a ton, as I did in JP, and I'm actually going to record my Noel runs this time just because I ran secondary runs with Noel offline when I should have just recorded those two, but I was being lazy. And so now I get to show him off again. But really, Noel's just kind of all right. Am I pulling? Well, the Eald'Narche banner, I already have his LD, so I don't need to pull here. Not interested in his burst. I wouldn't chase that. But I am going to gem Noel because he is a favorite. I'm not going to wait like 6 or 7 months, however long the gap is, to use him with burst and EX extension 2. That's just kind of goofy. If you're not super interested in Noel, I honestly would say there's really no reason to pull on this banner now. His banner down the road with his burst and Sid's LD is a hilariously better banner, and that banner just kind of knocked this one out of any prospect aside from like hardcore Noel fans like me. So yeah, just keep that in mind. I wouldn't personally recommend anyone to go for him here unless they're a big fan. As for Eald'Narche doesn't have any known reruns for his LD in the future, so maybe we don't know how his burst plus is going to look, so that's something to be aware of. And at this point, he's going to be coming with the EX extension, so there's a lot up in the air about him. But he's usually he's not much people's play style, but I do give him some respect. He is powerful when executed well. So yeah, gem pity Noel on my front. I wouldn't be mad at Eald'Narche's burst because I know exactly where he's going in Transcendence for the Crucible 2. But if I don't get the burst, whatever. I don't care. Wouldn't be using him much anyways. Maybe unless we get a third Dullahan Abyss. Fingers crossed we don't though. As most of us know, I should assume, Noel reruns in the future alongside Sid's LD, the beginning of level 90, and where you get the EX extension and a burst. That is an infinitely better banner, so if you're on the fence, just skip Noel, for real. He's not super impressive, and Eald'Narche, we do not know when he's going to rerun at this point, although when he does, he will definitely be confirmed to be getting EX extension, burst plus, level 90, all the works, so you probably won't feel terrible if you skip out on him, but just, again, acknowledge his power and understand why you may or may not be interested. Honestly, I semi kind of feel bad for Eald'Narche because I definitely contributed to to people kind of hating him. But the Dullahan made me reconsider. Actually, I take that all back because I remember just pressing the HP attack over and over again how much I hate it. Yeah, never mind. Eald'Narche sucks. Expect a lot of Noel runs though. The Lufenia is semi interesting. There's an Eald'Narche mannequin that can blow you up with an all attack. That's no good. And there's a Chaos Bahamut from Final Fantasy 13 2. It is immune to elemental resist down, so you can imperil it, and it's also magic resist. There is a magic counter, but it's in the second part of that fight, so I'll go over that in a second. The orb is to break the target, so that's selling Noel pretty hard whenever you just do a break on it, so Noel can just re-break and eat off that. Lightning Aranea can do the same thing. I guess Vayne, maybe, if you wanted to really big brain it. somebody's gonna do a vein run, I'm certain of it. Anyway, the first phase of this boss isn't terribly threatening. It does have a mode where it'll turn red. There's a fat brave gain, and then you gotta break it. Defense spikes on that one turn while it's red, so you can either skip the turn with like a stun like Eald'Narche, or you could just pop it instantly with Noel. That's how they're selling it. Either way, you gotta get around that, or else the entire party's gonna get blown up by a big attack that ignores reductions. Eald'Narche can Terra loop pretty much this entire fight, but you also do need to break the guy to fulfill the orb, so that's something to be aware of. When it hits 50%, it's going to transform into a completely new boss, so goodbye to your debuffs. It's a new, registered on the field, it's C instead of A, as it was before. Anyways, it charges up an attack, and the only way to not get blown up by it is to not let it get turns, and it does frame its turn, by the way, and so it's only delayable by break delay. So either, if you don't want to get hit, it's like a triple reduction ignoring HP attack. You really don't want to get hit by this. You'll probably almost definitely die, because the triple HP deck means it'll double tap last stand too. If you stun it, it'll get nerfed down to just a regular Brave plus HP attack that is livable, more than likely. And if you stun it twice, then it will just not blow you up at all. And that's the trick for this part, and then it becomes sort of a semi-damage race. Not much to say about that. Good characters for this fight. Not Terra. Again, the magic counter is on the second half of this fight. So unless you want to do big brain strats with Paralyze and Bartz and Fujin because it's Imperil immune, not want to bring a magic dealer, but it can work. I'm just not advising it. Or if you want to do it, somebody like Clay from Dystopia or someone would probably do something insane like that, but not me. But like Aranea for the break delay, Eald'Narche to lock him down, Edward and Arciella's base call and Edward's LD call to stun the guy, or just Eald'Narche in the party. Maybe some RNG with Waka. There's a ton of options to deal with it, and I think this is a good like middle ground for an interesting fight. In JP, I ran Galuf, Camlinot, the better brother, fight me, and Noel. I did Noel for the rebreak. Galuf was protecting us while the boss was standing up, and Cam reduced the effectiveness of the boss because with his attack down, and also Cam had the Paralyze, so I was actually able to stun the boss for quite a bit solely because Cam locked him down. So it's a good choice is what I'm trying to say. But then I took a little long. I actually poorly played that fight, and Alphino, the goofball on YouTube who does Brave Gain up run, shout out to him. He played that much better than me. But yeah, Camlinot's actually, I think, a solid option here just for the stuns and the delay and the attack down. I think you can actually, even though the boss ignores Brave reductions, I think you can attack down it. There might be some debuff shenanigans. Maybe Vincent might eat a little better here on this fight too. That's, at least in my head, might happen. But yeah, obviously Noel, Aranea, Lightning, even though Imperil immune, Lightning can still hit hard. Tons of options here. Who am I running now? I'm going to run Noel again, absolutely. I'm going to run Aranea because I keep on spamming her. And my third, I don't know. No, not Edward because it's not. Maybe I'll run Eald'Narche and I'll go a full debuff team. Or maybe I'll run, who's a physical attacker that I like running? Maybe I'll run Kieran or something. Or Warrior Light. Yeah, I'm feeling or Pestle. Why don't I just run Pestle? He's valid here. Yeah, let's do that. Anyways, yeah, that's what I think about. It should be a decently fun event and a nice start to the month. I know people aren't super excited about Eald'Narche being included, but Noel hype through the roof, Blue Armor Frame 1. Let's get it. And that's it. Hope you all enjoyed the clip and found it informative. I do try my best, generally. If you haven't already done so, please like the video, comment what you think and your plans, and make sure to subscribe to my channel for more great content. The full video is linked, so check that out as well. Continue showing love. Good luck, everybody. Peace.